Hello and welcome to Howard's Cave of Wonder. I'm Chris, aka Howard Blues, welcoming you back to my cave of wonder and back to a classic Howard vlog. That's right, this is where I sit, I hobby, and I talk about other hobby things while I get some work done. So kudos. Usually with these I have like some specific project that I'm working on, but not really tonight. This will probably be shorter, truthfully, of a vlog. I got kind of a little bit of a back injury going on today, so it's a little uncomfortable to be here in the paint seat, but I wanted to get some things done, and so that's kind of what the goal of the project is tonight. I got 3 miniatures that I think I can maybe get to a point of done, maybe even a 4th, as I kind of look around at all of the stuff on there. And that'd be great to get 4 big projects done, dusted, off of the table. Because I have bigger things that I want to do, and I just want to kind of get some things taken care of. So let me introduce what I got, what I'm working on. First up, I got this Ettin. This is a WizKids Ettin that I have just kind of been every now and then working towards. And we're looking pretty good. The fur needs to be on camera. The fur needs some touch up and coat, especially that lower portion of it. His hair is looking good. I got to figure out how I'm going to do the eyes because they're like non-existent. Otherwise, there's a little bit of highlighting some of the accoutrement on his belt. And I need to go in also, and he's got all these scars. And I started kind of painting them in, but I went too heavy on my paint, and so instead of looking like wounds where I should have kind of glazed in and did, I know what I should have glazed it and then it kind of worked up so it looked like it had a nice kind of purplish bruise. No, I went a bit too heavy, and so he's got all of these now stupid purple lines across him, and so I just really need to bring kind of my flesh tone back in and kind of just glaze back over. I mean, this one up here doesn't look as bad, but some of the other ones are a little rough and ragged. But otherwise, like those few things, and I'd probably call him pretty much done and dusted. So there's Mr. Ettin, who is nearing completion. Further along, closer to being done, is this guy. This is a Druid figure from Reaper Miniatures, and really overall, I'm very happy. The only thing that I need to do on him, as far as I can tell, as I was kind of looking him over tonight, is on his base. He just needs that. I painted him much like I did my stone tutorial that I put up. I've done his stone. It just needs a little bit of wash, not quite too heavy or dark because his base is already kind of dark, but a little bit of that and a little bit of dry brush, and then he's done. So he's nearing completion. In that same kind of line, I have this guy, this Orc Shaman, who showed up in one of the very early episodes of Howard's Cave of Wonder. He's got the same base issue, so his base is nearly done and complete. It just needs really a wash and a dry brush and probably a little touch up after that, and that's done. I need to change out this jewel that's on the front of his kind of tabard, because I ended up with such a beautiful green on here, and I had painted this green. I did the same thing up here. This gem used to be green, and then it's like that's too much green, so I went with purple. I need to change this out to something else because it's too much green. And really, once I've done that, I think I'm pretty good. I like his hair where it's at, and kind of everything else. There's a little bit of shading I need to do on this bit of fur kind of stuff back here. Not thinking any too hard. I'll probably actually try and use some of this stone to kind of do that. But yeah, I'm really, and probably kind of a little bit on his feathers as well. So he's nearly done. A few kind of quick touches, and he'll be finished. So then we have Mr. Monk here. He's pretty close. He needs some shading on his coat back here. Probably a little bit of shading and highlighting on his belt, on his white shirt. It could use a little bit. Giving him hair that is the right color. I think I'm going to stick with kind of this brownish hair, but I might make it a little bit sandier blonde kind of tone, or a little bit like that. And get his eyebrows, and then that really will leave his eyes. And then I'm going to call him good. I mean, his weapons are not probably the greatest. I might try and hit them with a little bit of that wash when I do that. And then there might be just some final touches here and there. But I really think that he's pretty close as well. This is a lot. There's a lot of things, as I said, I'm really close to done. And then, of course, we have this Kung Fu half-orc monk, and he just needs some shading to kind of tie in this highlight I did on his tabard. He needs a little bit of highlight to his hair. His bottle looks good. I just need to do the cording on it and get that done. And then I think so. Hair, eyes, eyebrows, with that, and I think then he's done. So a lot of things that I could get done, and as I said, the back is feeling it. So it's going to be a little bit of a trick to get through all of this and do it well. The big thing that it seems like a lot of these need is my as a stonewash mix, and so I think that might be a good place to start, because I could get that stonewash mix up running and apply it to several models, and then while that dries, I got like one thing I can open and show. So we'll do that. So that, I think, is going to be my plan. Of course, do I have everything for my stone mix here? I probably don't. Oh yeah, I do. It's behind Mr. Ettin. If you didn't watch that video, I like to do a little bit of a wash on my stone stuff, but kind of before that, I want to add a little bit more color to this places that have stone, and I'm just going to add orange because I like a little bit of orange lichen on a lot of my stone. So we'll do a little bit of that, and kind of all of those, and then probably see how I'm feeling after that about kind of their groundwork. So I most of them have some dirt, and I put some green for moss, just trying to come up with stuff to make things interesting. So we're just gonna sprinkle some of this on in a couple of places, going a little bit over the green, a little bit over that gray color, just trying to add some interest to some different little lichen. I said, I like my rock a little bit more interesting. And I'm going to do a few things, like with this guy's base. It's so stinking big that, and empty. He needs a little something. And so I'll probably do a little bit of flocking and such to it just to try and add in. But yeah, just adding in some of that orange to him. This guy, again, kind of doing the same. Adding some just dabs of orange here and there to be my little lichen. Knowing that, again, I'm going to hit it with a wash. And that will take this orange, which is coming off as just very bright, and knock it down. Those three have it. Mr. Ettin doesn't have it. And I don't think Santa Goblin meets it. I ended up with more orange. I have this figure that I've kind of been working on as well. It's a bit further out. It's my Oktoberfest. So I'm going to do much the same. And just add some stone. I'm doing some brickwork on this one as well. So I don't want to go too crazy with it. But, you know, adding in little bits of stone feature and a little bit, as I said, a little lichen, just a little bit of variation to my stone, just to make it interesting as it goes. I have this orange on my Orc Shaman. We have that green jewel thing that just isn't really doing it for me. So let's maybe go orange. Green and orange kind of play off well together, and I have all this extra orange paint, so we're just going to come in and we're just going to apply the orange. Mr. Santa Goblin. I said I missed some spots there with an ink. And so I'm going to grab a little of the old E3 paint ink. I'm actually going to put it in the same well I used earlier because it actually like seeped up some brown that was in there, which is part of what helped give it that kind of funky-esque color. I don't know if you can see it. If I go down like that, you can see along here, and I usually add a little bit of water, but you look closely, especially up at that one point, you can see there's now, especially as I do that, there's a little bit of brown seeping in. It's right kind of there. That's okay. I'm going to give it just a little stir. You can see it's pulling up a few other things. Now I got kind of a icky brown yellow. And I'm not going to apply too much of this. It's just a nice little off color thing. So it's going to kind of give kind of almost a dirty orange coloration to this, which is okay because he's Santa Goblin. This isn't Kris Kringle. And so just adding it in because it makes him look a little bit grungier, a little bit dirtier. Well, we'll do a little bit more to his beard, being that that's a focal point. Get the underside of this out. That's kind of my whole thing with him, is just to make him look a little bit dirtier, a little bit more stained. And here's now a great thing, and this is why I end up doing so many models all at the same time. A lot of times I will find colors and things like that, and then I'll try and work them into stuff. So in this case, I have this monk who's got this yellow belt that I started too high of a color, and now it like I can highlight it up, but it's just going to go closer to white, and it's just going to look a little bleh. It's yellow. I can use this yellowish brownish ink that I have. We're just going to kind of wash it on there. And let it do what it's going to do. Oh, there's that. Here's the other cool thing. This yellow brownish ink that I got kind of going. I can slap some of that also onto these rocky bases, and it will just again add a different color to them a little bit. Kind of a dirty brownish yellow. Again, just kind of mixing that all in. Just to change up stuff, and I'll go through all of them again. So while that is going, let me get my stone wash. If you didn't watch the stone video, I'm using some game color washes here. We got umber wash, blue wash, and black wash. I mix these three together. About 50-50 blue wash and umber wash. This kind of gets me a dirty brownish bluish color, which is to me a great shade. It's still a little bit on the light side, and so that's where then I'll usually add a drop or two of the black wash, because black wash can be incredibly powerful and can easily overwhelm things that you're putting it into. So I don't want to put a ton of it in. I just want to put in enough to make sure that I have this darkness. So to just iterate, I already did this kind of camera trick once, but so you can see here, I've got my blue and my brown already in there. And if I just give that a mix, I have already kind of a nice, I'll put a little bit there. You can see it's kind of a blackish color, but it's got a nice, really kind of dirt look. And again, I can add black wash if I want to get this really dark. Because I want to use this blue wash on a couple of other models, I'm going to just leave it like that off the bat. So leave it like that, paint it on, let it go in, and then if I feel like I need it darker for the stonework and that, I can always add in, but start with this for the pieces I want to use this for. And with this, we'll start with Mr. Monkey Monk. I don't want to put it on too heavy because it's kind of going to be a shade. The whole idea is to kind of bring everything down a little bit and a little bit together. So it's not bad. It's not going to quite do what I want it to. We figure out the next thing. So I'm going to let that sit and think about that one for a bit. I might need to go more blue to kind of tie in my tones. It's fine. It's fine. It's a good start. But for this monk, it should work out. This is working very well for like that light blue, not so much for the other monk, but as I said, for the stone, I want it darker. I want it to take out some of the shiny that I got going on here. And so I'm going to add all of like 3 drops of black wash in. And all that's going to do is bring down my color. And so you can see old wash, new wash. You can see how that's a very lighter gray. This is much darker. And as I go over things like this orange, on here, you can see it. It's going to darken things out. One day I'll figure out a better way to do all of this so I don't have to quite mess with that quite so much. But working with what I got here. So, taking that wash, and we'll start with Mr. Monkey Monk. Well, I've decided that that's his name. And we're just going to come in, and we're just going to slather this darker wash on. And what it's going to do, if you didn't watch the stone video, which go watch the stone video. I thought it turned out pretty good. And I actually finished a model in a video. So that's a rarity. But it's going to knock down the shininess that I have on his base. Adds black in kind of to a color. And then we'll come back in, provide a little dry brush to this to kind of recreate the rock. Now this one I didn't use quite as bright of a gray, and so you'll be able to see. I'll try and hold them up. This one's going to come out much darker in its stone look, and we'll definitely need some highlighting and such afterwards. But if you can see that, as I try and hold it up so that you can. He had a much kind of bluer base than kind of my light one. So if I hold them kind of side by side, you should be able to see this guy. It's going to look a little bit darker and blue. Then this guy is going to have a little bit more lighter tones and such that come through. Those guys are now in the drying phase. While they're drying, I'm going to bring in Mr. Ettin. As I said, he's got these cloth fur things, and I painted them white, and I want to bring them down a little bit. I'm not going to apply quite as much wash to it, but going to apply some, which will hopefully help turn it a little bit more on the gray side of things, but also at the same time help kind of define the fur and such. So just kind of coming in, letting it. And the nice thing is, again, if it makes it gray, if I want to go back to that white, I can dry brush that white in to bring it back. Right now, my whole thing is just to get some shade on it, make it. The rest of him looks so beautiful. Like, I'm very happy with like how his skin turned out and such. I just want to try and make the rest. And even like the wraps on his feet just are, to me, fantastic. There's a little bit of spillage of color that has kind of had on him, but I'm okay with it because it just makes it look like he's dirty and messy. I kind of like the fact that with some of these figures, we sometimes worry so much about that perfection. And somebody could take a figure like this and spend all their time, you know, beautifully highlighting and shading and all that. But to me, this is an Ettin who's living in a cave, wearing a loincloth. He's not meant to be pretty. He's meant to kind of be dirty and grimy, and you know, I doubt he ever takes a bath, and that kind of shows. You've got streaks of green and mud, and you know, he looks like he's a mess, and that's awesome. He looks very detailed. I said I had something. I'm going to take a break. Let my back rest just a wee bit. And open up something from GW. Yeah, I know the box is upside down. Let me try again. and open up something from GW. Yeah, Warhammer. I'm both happy and not happy about this one. And I'll explain why. I'm happy because it's a new model that's in here. I think there might actually even be a second model in here. I'm trying to remember. This is something I pre-ordered. But I'm happy for that. I'm not happy because it has something also to do with this channel. Let's get with the front side of this. One of the things I picked up just recently, because it's going to fit a future project that I have, it's this. It is from Necromunda. It is their Hive Scum. Yeah, this is just, it was a kind of a cheap kit to get some different kind of models. I don't play Necromunda, but I have some post-apocalyptic sort of stuff in mind for this, and this is going to fit in well with that. Now for the thing that both I'm happy about and also a little sad about, as I say the box sound. I got the new Red Gobbo for the year. The Red Gobbo's Tinboy. So it's here. I got it. I had pre-ordered it. And I'm happy because this is a cool model. I love everything from the Charlie Brown tree he's got in his bag to just the whole kind of nutcracker feel, and it's fun. The thing that makes me sad about this is when I started this channel, the first projects that I started were the Red Gobbo. And unfortunately, the Red Gobbo has, I stalled out on those. I got to a point with the skin where I was just like, I know what I want to do. And I couldn't figure it out for a little bit, how to do it. And then I did. And this guy, who I'm also working on, my Orc Shaman, helped me figure out how to do it in a way that I think will work. So I got that kind of sorted out. And that's great, because that means I can move on with these. So if you haven't seen it, this is the Red Gobbo with a snowman. The head for the snowman is up top. I also have the Red Gobbo on the roof, about to drop in some dynamite. And then not really a Red Gobbo, but in that same vein, I have a couple of gets on a holiday squig. So hopefully I will be bringing that project back. We're into December, so it's a good time to work on the Red Gobbo. Maybe try and get them finished. I mean, it'll probably be January by the time that you guys get to see it if I do. But and truthfully, I was planning to work on it. But again, screaming back that is yelling at me. So we're going to hold up on that. But yeah, that came in. And as I'm recording this, we've just passed the Thanksgiving holiday, and it's Saturday. And today, the pre-sale for Warhammer Quest Dark Water went live. $255 for it. Oh, that's a hit to the old wallet. I tried to get in and get it, and had some issues with the website. So we'll see if I can still get it. It's not a must-have for me. But it'd be kind of cool to get. I like they has this cool supposedly book that should open up and becomes your playboard, and that seems really interesting. The models are not as good as Cursed City, in my opinion. I liked the feeling of the Cursed City models a little bit better. It was kind of that vampire gothic horror, Van Helsing kind of setting. It appealed to me in a really nice way. I wish they would have done more with it. It kind of just fizzled due to all sorts of fun things. This one, the heroes are all right. They don't quite excite and thrill me. But the bad guys, oh, I'm not a huge fan of Nurgle, but these were Nurgle models that I could get behind. But between the Demon Prince that they had, I think is what his Pust is his name. I'll put a photo up. But just them, the Pestigores, all of that, those were worth having. And I really liked the villain models for this. So we'll see. We'll see if we can get in on that. So that was kind of the big news. I realized as I was talking, I had set Mr. Druid off to the side, and so he has missed all of the fun of like the orange and some of that I've been doing. So we're gonna just catch him up real quick, hopefully on camera. Yeah, I'm just gonna put some of that orange on. This one, he's a metal miniature, and he came with the old school Reaper broccoli base. It's this kind of green stuff with a pin poking in. It's okay, but being that he's a metal model and just trying to get him off was going to be difficult. So I decided he's an older model. I'm going to just let it ride as is. I still think he's awesome. One other thing I wanted to do with this, and I'm going to try and be careful, and this guy has it, along with the Orc Shaman. I have some of these feathers, and they need a little bit of shade. And so I'm going to just try and not put a whole lot in, but just enough to kind of hopefully darken everything without, especially since I got white going here. Because I want the feather texture to stick out, but I don't really want to overly darken my feathers. But it needs the texture. Bring this guy back in. You can see he's got his feathers right there. And some of you might notice that he's got kind of the same feather paint job as my other guy. And I don't have like a story or lore building reason why, but one of the things I do like, and you'll see I'm giving him a little bit more of the shadow and shade on it. One thing I've always liked doing with a lot of my miniatures is I like to have certain elements that just carry through, and you find them on the various figures if you look closely to them. And I'm not going to say what they all are, because some of them are just for me. But they're the feathers, since I'm doing these two things back to back. I remember there's one other piece on this guy I wanted to hit. Since I'm doing these back to back, it's a little bit obvious to catch that I did it. But know that I do like having a few little secrets and little Easter egg type things in my stuff. And it's just something fun to me, being that I paint for myself. I feel like a lot of this, I'm going to be a little bold here. This wasn't in my original plan for tonight, but there's a part of me that just says I should hit his hair with this wash a little bit. So I'm going to. I paint for myself mostly, and so even though I'm not painting this because, hey, I have a D&D group that's going to see these, or they're for a game. Let's keep them alone. I'm struggling and leaning that way because it's a little bit easier on the back. I like to think that I'm painting and creating a world in itself, and that there's these fun little things that if you pay attention to and you look closely at, you'll find them. It's little Easter egg sort of things. Oh, it makes it feel like a shared world. I'm going to call it at that. I'm sorry, folks, if it's a little bit shorter of a video, and I had high hopes of getting some things done. I have some things that are very close, actually. I'm going to do one thing so I can finish this Druid, because I have one little piece. I just need a little. So I'll finish it as I chat. I really had hoped to get a little bit more done on all of this, but that's just how it goes. You just had this weird thing. I don't know what it is. I think it's supposed to be like a pouch. Yeah, that is a pouch. Now that I painted gold. Okay. I'll have to fix that. Good thing that was on camera. Just dump it where you want it. So I didn't get that much done, and that sometimes happens. I was able to do a little painting earlier today, so that's nice and helpful in that sense. Always fun when I can do a little bit during the day. But at least I got to spend some time with you. And truthfully, I do have a lot more that I'm working on. I'm painting a lot of things at work right now. In fact, I finished a couple of things. I finished Tinker the Gnome. He was a Reaper Christmas model, so some pictures there. I figured an Hoodygug, this thing, and from D&D, from the D&D adventure board game, which is not the best miniature, hence some of the mold lines you might catch, because I tried to clean that thing up, but some of those things were so deep I would have been taking huge chunks out of the model to clear, so it is what it is. So I have gotten some painting done, and that's great. I've also spent a lot of time cleaning the cave and doing some reorganizing. Maybe I'll talk about that the next time, but I've hit my my peak. It was what my back will allow, so I should probably call it a night so I can clean up and all of that. If you made it this far into the video, thanks for sitting around with me as I kind of didn't do a whole lot and just kind of chatted. But sometimes that's all you get done in the hobby, especially when you're fighting some back pain. Hopefully you're finding your own, hopefully you're all doing well and you're not having that struggle as you do your own hobbying and painting. But always glad to hang out with you. Always glad to have you down here in the cave. If you're new and you made it this far, hey, consider giving a like and a subscribe. You don't have to. I always appreciate it, though. We've been growing. We're up to 77 of you who have subscribed. Thank you all. I appreciate it so much. It's fun for me to see every time a new subscriber comes in. It just fills my heart with joy. And hey, if you have comments, throw them down in the comments section. I've had some wonderful conversations with some of you who have shared comments, so always greatly appreciated. With that, I'm going to call it a night. So hopefully we'll catch all of you back down here in the cave again next time. Not everybody.